Hey y'all, it's Amanda and this is my Texas Zone 8 garden, and today we're outside. It's pretty hot. We're going to be doing a number of things. We're going to clear out this whole bed in front of me, and it's going to be an entire bed of Lisianthus that I've grown from seed, and we're going to be using some kind of cool bag hangers for my cantaloupe that's doing really well, and we're going to pot up a rose tree. Okay, so we're in the backyard. This direction is south. These beds get mainly mainly sun almost the entire day. This bed right here for several years has been dedicated to mostly snapdragons with a little bit of Lisianthus in the corner. But I've moved my snapdragons to a new area. And so what I want to do is go ahead and get this bed cleared out so we can plant tons of Lisianthus seedlings that I started from seed. Okay, and with that being said, we're just going to do a lot of just pulling out. Now, I realized that I was having some issues with drainage over here. So this bed has not been getting as much water as it usually does. It's a little bit of an issue. I've also been dealing with some armadillo issues. I have, especially this bed over here, the armadillos have been coming through and digging everything up. So I came out the other morning and oh my gosh, all of the zinnia seedlings that I had planted over there were all dug up, so I had to replant them. Anyway, I ordered a device that puts off like basically vibrations and noise into the ground, which the armadillos do not like. So that should be here tomorrow, and I will probably do a video on putting those out, just showing you what I'm doing. But armadillos have definitely become an issue for me, and I don't usually deal with any kind of rodent issues. I don't even deal with like squirrels. Like, it's just not been a thing for me in the past. So this is all new for me. And after reading up, I've definitely created the basically like the perfect like Disneyland for armadillos. So I've given them everything they like: water sources, food sources, places to hide and burrow, and literally my garden is like a haven for them. So, and whereas I don't want to stop gardening, like literally the suggestions for getting rid of armadillos was to like rip up all your shrubs. I was like, what? So since I don't want to get rid of my garden, I had to come up with some different solutions. So I'll be showing you guys that. All right, so pull back the drip line. Okay, so I've got a couple of bags of compost, and you'll see me doing this in a lot of my beds in the fall. I like to come through and add a bag of compost just to help continue to build the quality of the soil that I have in my garden. Okay, and a little bit about building the quality of soil. So when I first installed these beds, I bought all the soil from a place called Living Earth in our area. It was soil and it was compost. Anyway, they have a really good reputation. You have to put extra soil in this. This one seems lower than the other side. Anyway, And I started all these new beds in the spring, and I was so excited. I planted everything in, and then like nothing grew or it died. It was crazy. I was like, what? After all that work, nothing. It turns out my soil or my compost was still hot, meaning it was still breaking down and at a really hot temperature that was not conducive with growing things in it yet. So that was quite the lesson learned on that. So the next season, the next spring, I added, I had my compost in the fall and then planted out in the spring, that following spring, and I had glorious stuff. So I think what ended up happening is that compost just wasn't broken down quite enough to actually be able to grow anything in it at that point in time. So don't get discouraged if you feel like some of your plants aren't coming to fruition in a brand new bed with brand new soil, because you might just need a season or two for that soil to build up or to be in a good place for growing things. Okay, so now that I've got that in, let's see about getting my drip lines back in. Okay, so I couldn't get this back in exactly how it was, but I think that will work. Okay, so I have some beautiful Lisianthus seedlings. I've been growing them for multiple years, and I've definitely started to perfect how it's going, and I do have a video on how I started all these from seeds. Now, I started these during the summer so that I could plant them out in the fall. If you're still wanting to grow Lisianthus, you're fine. You're just not going to be able to plant them for fall. If you're in my particular area, I suggest starting your Lisianthus seeds in December, all right? And then come March, once we have a little bit of cooler weather, warmer weather, you can get them outside. You can go ahead and plant them outside. Lisianthus love the heat. They tend to bloom early summer for me, early to midsummer. They put off the most beautiful flowers, and they act as a tender perennial in my area. So typically the plants will last 2 to 3 years, which is great. But you definitely can still grow from seed if you would like. So I have several varieties that I'm going to be planting in today, and look at these just gorgeous seedlings. Now, these guys are putting off a lot of growth. They might give me a bloom before the weather gets too cool, or they might not. Either way, it's totally fine. But yeah, just bringing them out here, getting them planted. I am planting them along my drip lines, along each drip emitter, so about every 6 inches down each of these emitters. Now, I will say I am growing a wide variety of them. So the ones I'm planting right now are Black Pearl. Next is Voyage Lavender. Next is First Love. Can't believe I get to have all these Lisianthus. The next one is Voyage Green. Next is Corelli Peach. Okay, next is Voyager Deep Rose. Okay, next is Celeb Blue Chateau. Okay, and last tray, this one is Celeb Madonna. Then we have Voyage Champagne. And then finally, some Echo White. Okay, how exciting is that? A whole bed of Lisianthus grown from seed, y'all. Feeling pretty good about that. So I am coming across and I am going ahead and watering them in, even though they have drip to them. Because I am planting these in the middle of the day, which is not an ideal time to plant seedlings. Typically you want to plant first thing in the morning or in the evening. And I don't worry about covering these. These don't tend to have any issues. I am planting them out 6 to 8 weeks prior to my first frost of the season, So it should have plenty of time to establish their root systems. I did not try to tease out their roots, even though that they are pretty root bound. I think they'll still work it out. So I'm not real stressed about it. I think it'll be fine. But of course, if they don't survive, that could be one of the main reasons why. But I think they're going to be okay. I can't imagine having 5 to 7 Lisianthus from each of these plants, y'all. How amazing. Maybe 3 Lisianthus the first year. Maybe 3 to 5 the first year. Yeah, 3 to 5. And then also, I can plant early sunflowers and early zinnias in this bed as well. Probably early sunflowers. And get one round in before my Lisianthus start blooming. Now, I said I won't cover these. I won't cover these unless we get below 25 degrees for more than an hour or two. If we're going to have multiple days of weather that's really intense, low temps, I will come out and cover these. And as always, I'll let y'all know what I'm doing at that time. Y'all, I'm just so excited. This makes me think back to when I first started growing Lisianthus from seed and what a failure it was, how hard it was. But this is just beautifully coming together. I learned so much about growing them over the years. I'm very excited to see how they do their next season. So many new varieties that I've never grown before. Okay, let's go over and work a little bit on my cantaloupe. Okay, so I installed this new arch this year, and I have cantaloupe growing on it. And I've got several fruit going, 2 good-sized ones going, some smaller ones going, some serious spider webs up here. This plant tends to be a little bit behind, feels like. Look at all these vines of it that were all just kind of growing downwards. Let's see if I can't get some of these up along the trellis. Got so many bumblebees hanging around over here. All right, so anyway, I've got some pretty heavy fruit. So I ordered some basically bag things to help support them. First time using them, so let me show you what they are. Okay, so here are some of the cantaloupe down here. Here's one over here. There's another one right here. There are some other smaller ones. Anyway, I got on Amazon and I ordered some of these melon sacks, which look a little silly. But already this is really stretching the vine so tight, and I'm nervous that it's going to break it. So basically you got just your little sacks like this, and I think it would be better, it came with zip ties. I think it would be better if I had little hooks. Yeah, that didn't come. Don't have little hooks. So basically come inside with this little bag just like this, and then I just lift it up and I use the zip tie to secure it so that the weight is taken off of the vine. That's pretty cool looking. Now they had these in a ton of different colors. I chose the red and white, which does not blend in at all, but I don't care. I thought they were pretty fun. So here's another one right here. And I do love to eat cantaloupe. Not really a fan of honeydew, but I do like cantaloupe. So basically I'm just going to come up here, and I am making sure that I'm lifting the bag some so that the weight is taken off of the vine. And just like that. And so obviously these expand as the fruit gets larger. Very cool. This is my first year growing cantaloupe at this property. I've grown it before. I don't know how long this takes to come to fruition. I still have quite a bit of time, growing time. So we'll see if some of these get bigger. But this variety is called Honey Rock. I really like that. I think that's super cool. And I love growing the honeydew over this. I think it looks really neat. So I do have one more all the way across the yard. So let's go take care of that. Okay, so we have the bag again. This one's not too heavy yet. But truthfully, all it's going to take is a couple of rainstorms and these things are going to get massive. Okay, so next thing I need to do is pot up a tree rose. Let me get digging in this a little bit. Okay, I got this tree rose, and Kristen got it for me, actually for my daughter. The variety is called a Mr. Lincoln. It's about 4 feet tall. It's known for dark red blooms, loves full sun, water regularly until established. It's going to be about 3 to 6 feet tall by 2 feet wide. Strong damask smell. Maybe the best red hybrid tea of all time. Long stems, dark green leaves, high centered flowers that open fully and offer a wonderful damask fragrance, tall, vigorous, and ever blooming. Now, the reason she got this for me is my daughter loves red roses. In fact, I just finished making her homecoming mum. I'll put up a picture. I'll try to remember to put up a picture of her in it. Homecoming mums are like a southern Texas thing. So anyway, just got that done for her and it has red roses on it. So anyway, I want to go ahead and get this potted up. It has been living on the porch for months at this point. Now, I am going to start by dumping out some of the soil and mulch that's on the top. Just like that. And I am going to go back and we're going to add in and top this with compost. And ordinarily, I wouldn't be putting a rose right back into a container because I haven't had the best of luck with potting these up in containers. They do a ton better for me when they're in the ground. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull this out for a minute. Actually, let's lay it down. I'm going to put some of the soil into here. And even though I'm putting this in a container, it's because I'm finally getting to a time where I've been wanting to set up an area for containers in this back portion of the garden. But I needed to get so much of this other area done first. And finally getting to the point. So I need to start potting up a lot of things that have just been sitting in their nursery pots. Get them in actual containers. And surely they'll do better. All right. Roses tend to be heavy feeders. We're going to load this up real good with rose tone. And no, this rose isn't beautiful yet, but it will be in the future. So I'm going to loosen up a little bit of the soil that's around it. I don't want to mess with its root ball too much. Okay, and instead of topping it with additional potting soil, I'm actually going to add compost to the top just so that make sure I have lots of nutrients in there for this rose. I'm using the palm of my hand to really kind of push some of the soil down. Since this is a tree rose or a rose standard, we need to make sure it's supported. There's a big wooden stake in here. I'm not going to be removing that stake until this rose has had plenty of time to establish roots in this container. Now we need to make sure that we are keeping the root flare exposed. Let me show you what that is. All right, we are looking for the trunk to flare, right? We don't want to bring our soil all the way up and suffocate this. Move this so you can see. So you can actually see that it starts to get wider. So it's going to go small and it gets wider. Where it starts to get wider, that's where we want to stop the soil. We don't want to cover the part where it flares out. Super important. Okay, and this is not its permanent place. It's just where it's going to be for right now. Let's go ahead and water it in really well. This pot has holes on the bottom to allow for drainage. You definitely want to water this in really, really well. Basically, we want it to get rid of any air pockets. Now, this has a lot of spider mites on it right now. It's because it has not been exposed. It's been on under the porch. It hasn't even been exposed to that much sun. I'm going to go ahead and drench it down because that's going to help get rid of some of the spider mites on it. Spider mites do not like water. And this water is pulled up and we'll just allow it to drain out over time. And then I can add additional stakes if need be. Yeah, it looks good. Okay, so that was quite the day of work, getting all those Lisianthus plants planted in. All the additional Lisianthus seedlings are going to Kristen's property, which will be really, really nice. And also go ahead and getting the cantaloupe supported by those bags, and those bags can be reused for years and years to come. And then getting this tree rose planted up, this Mr. Lincoln tree rose, which is beautiful, which I'll be very excited to see how this does in the spring next year. It's not going to do anything for me right now in the fall, but it'll be really nice to see how it does and if it brings lots of blooms. And I love the whimsical quality of a rose standard. All right, you all, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, kind of bouncing around doing all the things. We are still gardening. I am gardening kind of at fury mode. Everything is about prep, getting lots of stuff out, planted in the fall so it has this time to establish prior to our cold weather. And I'm also going to be talking about some, basically some seed planting. Seeds I'm going to be starting in December, things like that. So I'll keep you guys updated on those in case you want to grow along with me. As always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Every time you like and comment, it helps grow my channel so much. If you don't feel comfortable dropping an emoji, if you don't feel comfortable leaving a comment, just drop an emoji below letting me know you made it to the end and that you say hi. And be sure to check me out on my social media outlets, including Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, she's a mad gardener or a decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.